My husband didn't raise his voice, he didn't shout, he didn't beg. That was the scariest part. We were standing in the private hallway of North Atlanta Medical Center, white walls, cold lights, the smell of disinfectant thick in the air. Behind a glass wall, his mother lay connected to a dialysis machine, her body shrinking under expensive blankets. Julian looked at me like this decision was already made. "Prove your loyalty to this family," he said quietly. "Give my mother your kidney." The words didn't hit all at once. They landed slowly, one by one, like stones sinking into water. My kidney, my body, my life. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My throat felt dry, like I'd swallowed sand. "You're the only match," he continued. "The doctors checked, 1 in 1,000, it's you." I wanted to ask 1,000 questions. I wanted to say no. I wanted to run. But then he took my hands. "You don't have anyone else," he whispered. "And we're your family now." That line destroyed me because it was true. I had no parents, no siblings, no safety net. I had spent my entire life trying to belong somewhere, and now belonging had a price. I nodded. And in that moment I didn't realize I had just signed my own death sentence, not physically, but emotionally. People think being alone makes you strong. It doesn't, it makes you easy to use. I was 9 years old when my parents died on Interstate 75 near Atlanta. A semi-truck came out of nowhere, no time to brake. No time to scream. My father died instantly. My mother died holding my hand. After the funeral, no one fought for me, no aunt, no uncle, no "she can stay with us." I became a file, foster home number 1. Foster home number 2, then a state-run group home, long hallways, metal beds, staff who changed every few months and never learned our names. That's where I learned the rule of survival: don't complain, don't need too much. Be grateful for scraps. When I aged out, I got a community college degree in accounting, not because I loved numbers, but because it came with housing support. Jobs didn't want foster kids. Applications with my background never got callbacks, so I moved to Atlanta, found a job in a luxury boutique in Buckhead. Rich people, beautiful things, a life I could only touch, never own. I told myself one day fate would notice me. That was the day Julian Bain walked in. Julian Bain didn't walk into the boutique. He arrived. That's the only word that fits. It was a slow afternoon in Buckhead, soft music playing. Silk scarves folded perfectly on glass shelves. I was behind the counter, organizing a new shipment, trying not to think about rent or how many days were left before my bank account hit zero. Then the door opened. Julian was tall, sharp, effortless. The kind of man who never checked price tags because he didn't need to. His suit looked tailored, not flashy, expensive but quiet about it. He didn't rush. He touched fabric slowly, like he had all the time in the world. "I need a gift for my mother," he said. His voice was calm, controlled, educated. I showed him scarves, pashminas, hand-painted silk wraps. He rejected the first one. Then the second, then the third, not rudely, not impatiently, just calculating. I could have pushed the most expensive piece. I needed the commission, badly, but I didn't. "This one," I said, holding up a deep blue silk wrap. "It's not loud, but it lasts." He studied it, then he studied me. "Do you always speak this calmly?" he asked. "How else should I speak?" I replied. "People either flatter or look down on you. I try to do neither." That made him smile. He paid with a black card, no limit, no hesitation. Before leaving, he turned back and said, "What's your name?" "Amani." "I'll remember that." I didn't think much of it. I should have. He came back the next day, not to buy anything, just to talk. He leaned against the counter while I organized inventory, asking simple questions: where I grew up, how long I'd been in Atlanta, what I wanted from life. I lied about wanting stability. The truth was I wanted belonging. A week later, he came back again. Then he invited me to dinner. The restaurant didn't have prices on the menu. I didn't recognize half the dishes. My hands shook as I held the fork, terrified of doing something wrong. Across the table sat a man who looked like certainty itself. "Are you really alone?" he asked softly, covering my hand with his. "No family," I said. "No one?" He leaned in and whispered the words that sealed my fate. "We can fix that." 6 months later, we were married in a courthouse. No white dress, no photos, no celebration. His mother didn't believe in wasting money on show. I believed in sacrifice, and that's where I made my second biggest mistake. Marriage was supposed to feel like safety. For me, it felt like trespassing. Julian moved me into his family's estate in Alpharetta. Massive house, gated driveway, marble floors so clean they felt cold under your feet even in summer. From day one I knew one thing clearly: this was not my home. His mother, Beatrice Vane, didn't shout, she didn't insult me openly, she did something worse. She erased me. Every look said, "You don't belong here." Every silence said, "You are temporary." At dinner, she'd barely touch the food I cooked. Five-star recipes, hours in the kitchen, hands shaking with effort. She'd taste it, then push the plate away. Too heavy, she'd say, or too bland, or nothing at all. Gifts disappeared into her walk-in closet, never to be seen again. Perfume, jewelry, scarves. Once in front of guests, she laughed and said, "Well, charity work builds character." Everyone smiled. I smiled too. Inside, something cracked. Julian noticed everything and did nothing. Whenever I tried to talk, he'd say, "She'll come around. Just be patient. She's old-fashioned." So I tried harder. I learned the rules of that house fast. Don't walk the halls at night. Don't open the fridge without asking. Don't invite people over, don't exist too loudly. For 2 years I shrank myself to fit their comfort. And then Beatrice got sick. Kidney failure, dialysis 3 times a week, private clinic, expensive machines. Doctors with perfect smiles and no solutions. She needs a transplant, they said. The wait list is long. She didn't have years, she had months. That's when Julian dropped to his knees in a hospital hallway and asked me for my kidney. And that's when I learned something important. In that family, love was never free. It was always paid in blood. Julian didn't give me time to think. That was intentional. The conversation didn't happen once. It happened everywhere. In hospital corridors, in the car, in our bedroom late at night when my guard was down. "You're the only one who can save her," he kept saying. The doctors confirmed it. 1 in 1,000. I asked the question that had been burning inside me. "What about you? She's your mother, why not you?" He pulled out a medical report from his jacket like he'd been waiting for that moment. "Incompatible," he said. "I was tested first." "Do you really think I'd ask this of you if I had a choice?" The paper was covered in stamps and medical terms I didn't understand. I believed him, not because I was sure, but because I wanted to believe him. For 3 days straight, he didn't leave me alone with my thoughts. He brought me coffee in bed, held me close, spoke softly, lovingly. "You'll finally be part of this family," he whispered in the dark. "Blood and flesh, not just a name on paper." He promised things. After the surgery, Bora Bora, a month away, just us. He said his mother would finally love me. I pictured it, her smiling, calling me daughter. Hugging me without coldness. I had wanted that my entire life, belonging. So on the 3rd day, exhausted, cornered, emotionally drained, I said yes. "Fine," I whispered, "I'll do it." Julian hugged me tight. I didn't see the smile on his face. The day before surgery, we sat in the chief physician's office. Paperwork everywhere, consent forms, waivers, legal language designed to make you stop reading. Julian pointed at one page casually. "Standard backup clause," he said. "Every hospital requires it." I skimmed it. Something about the organ being used for another patient if the main recipient became unfit. It didn't register. I just wanted it to be over. The next morning, as they wheeled me toward the operating room, the lights above blurred into one long white line. Julian held my hand. "I'll be right here," he said. "My face will be the first thing you see." That was the last lie I believed. They say you don't feel pain right away. That's a lie. Pain was the first thing I felt when I woke up, deep, sharp, spreading through my side like fire under my skin. My mouth was dry, my throat burned. Machines beeped softly around me. I opened my eyes slowly. White ceiling, ICU lights, a nurse adjusting a drip. I turned my head. Julian wasn't there. "It's okay," I whispered, my voice barely working. "Where's my husband?" The nurse froze for half a second. That pause told me everything. "He stepped out," she said carefully. "You need to rest." Something felt wrong. Not just physically, something deep in my chest, like a warning siren going off too late. Hours passed. Julian didn't come. Beatrice didn't come. No flowers, no calls, no updates. Finally, a different doctor came in. Older, serious. The kind who doesn't soften bad news. "Miss Amani," he said gently, pulling up a chair. "There were complications." My heart started racing. "Did she survive?" I asked. He hesitated. "Yes," he said. "The transplant was successful." Relief washed over me. Then he added the sentence that shattered my world. "But the kidney wasn't given to your mother-in-law." I stared at him. "What? There was a last-minute change, he continued. The primary recipient became medically unstable. Per the consent form you signed, the organ was allocated to another patient on the emergency list. My ears started ringing. Another patient? Another person? You're saying, my voice cracked. You took my kidney and gave it to someone else? He nodded slowly. A very high-profile donor case, he said. Everything was done legally. Legally, I tried to sit up. Pain exploded through my body. Where is Julian? I demanded. He needs to explain this. The doctor looked uncomfortable. Your husband signed off on the final authorization. The room spun. He knew, he had known. I didn't see Julian for 2 days. When he finally walked in, he didn't look guilty. He looked annoyed. You're awake, he said, checking his phone. Good. I started crying, not loud, not dramatic, just broken. You lied to me, I said. You let them take my kidney for someone else. He sighed like I'd inconvenienced him. Beatrice stabilized, he said. Dialysis is managing her condition for now. For now, I whispered. You promised. I promised what was possible at the time, he cut in. Things change. I realized then I had never been a wife. I had been a resource, and now that resource was depleted. When I was discharged, no one took me home. A hospital transport dropped me at the estate gates. The guards didn't let me in. Mr. Bain said you're staying elsewhere, one of them said, avoiding my eyes. I stood there, weak, stitched, missing a piece of my body, holding a small bag of hospital clothes. With nowhere to go, that's when I understood the truth. I didn't lose my kidney in surgery, I lost my life. I slept on a friend's couch that first night, not a close friend, just a girl from the boutique who felt bad enough to help. Every movement hurt. My stitches pulled if I breathed too deep. My body felt unfamiliar, like it didn't fully belong to me anymore. The next morning, I checked my phone, no messages from Julian, no calls, nothing. I opened my banking app. Account frozen. At first, I thought it was a glitch. Then I tried another card, declined. That's when panic hit. I called the bank. Your joint account was closed yesterday, the representative said politely. Funds were transferred per authorization. Authorized by who? I asked, my hands shaking. By your husband. Of course, by noon, a courier arrived with an envelope. Inside were divorce papers, no note, no explanation. Just signatures already placed where his name belonged. 2 days after I gave up my kidney, I was being erased. I tried calling Julian, straight to voicemail. I tried Beatrice. Her assistant answered. Mrs. Bain is resting, she said coolly. She has no wish to speak with you, no wish. I laughed. It came out broken and ugly, but I laughed anyway. I remembered something then, something small I'd ignored before. During one of Beatrice's dialysis sessions, a woman had been sitting across the room. Pale, weak, surrounded by doctors. Julian had spoken to her physician quietly. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Now I knew. That kidney hadn't gone to a stranger, it had gone to someone important, someone richer, someone more valuable than me. I started digging. Hospital records are hard to access unless you know where to look. A nurse I'd once helped with boutique discounts remembered me. She didn't give me files, she gave me a name, Evelyn Cross, tech investor, major donor to the hospital, critical condition, emergency transplant. Everything clicked. Julian never married me for love, he married me because my body was a match. I wasn't a wife, I was inventory. That night, sitting alone, holding my scar, I made a promise to myself. I had been quiet my whole life. Grateful. Small, that version of me died on the operating table. They took my kidney. I was going to take back everything else. Revenge doesn't start loud, it starts quiet, with questions, with notes written at 3 a.m. when sleep refuses to come. My body was still weak, but my mind was finally awake. I couldn't outmoney Julian. I couldn't outpower his family, so I decided to outthink them. First lesson I learned fast: hospitals protect themselves, not patients. Everything they did was legal. That meant the truth wasn't in emotions, it was buried in paperwork. I went back to the hospital pretending I needed post-op support. Same halls, same smell, same fake sympathy smiles. I asked for my consent forms. They hesitated. I pushed. When they finally handed them over, I sat in the lobby for 3 hours reading every line like my life depended on it. Because it did. And then I saw it. A clause buried deep in the fine print. Donor consent valid only if primary recipient is medically unfit at time of surgery. I underlined it 3 times. Beatrice hadn't been unstable. She'd been improving. Dialysis logs showed it. Which meant the switch was planned before surgery. That wasn't just immoral, that was fraud. Next, I found a legal aid clinic. Free, overworked, no guarantees. The lawyer was young, tired, honest. These cases are hard, she said. You signed the consent. But if the consent was obtained under manipulation, I asked, and based on false medical claims, she paused, that changes things. For the first time since surgery, hope showed up, small, fragile, but real. Then came the call that almost broke me. Julian, after weeks of silence. I hear you're talking to lawyers, he said casually, like we were discussing groceries. You took my kidney, I replied. You don't get to tell me what to do, he laughed, soft, controlled. You don't have proof, he said. And even if you did, do you really want to go up against us? There it was, the threat. I hung up shaking, but I didn't stop. I started documenting everything, dates, names, voicemails, and then one night an unknown number texted me, if you want the truth, stop trusting the hospital. Attached was a photo, Julian, Evelyn Cross, together. Taken before my surgery. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just betrayal. This was a conspiracy. Why fear teaches you hesitation, but curiosity pushes you forward, I replied with one word. Who? The answer came minutes later, someone who watched you get used. We met in a parking garage 2 nights later, bad lighting, concrete walls, the kind of place secrets feel heavy. She was a nurse, mid-40s, tired eyes. I was on the transplant floor, she said. I saw the switch happen. She told me everything. Beatrice was never meant to receive my kidney, she was the cover. Evelyn Cross had paid for priority. Julian handled the donor, me. The hospital adjusted files, doctors stayed quiet, money did the rest. She handed me copies, logs, emails, names. This will cost me my career, she said, but you deserve the truth. For the first time, I wasn't alone. The lawyer stared at the documents like they were gold. This is huge, she whispered. This isn't just a civil case, this is criminal. We moved fast, whistleblower protection, federal health authorities, subpoenas. Julian didn't see it coming. He still thought I was weak. He was wrong. Julian showed up at my door for the first time since the surgery. No suit, no confidence. You're destroying lives, he said. I looked at him calmly. You destroyed mine first. He tried threats. Then money, then tears. None of it worked. Because when someone has already lost everything, you have nothing left to take. The story broke quietly at first, then loudly. Hospital executives resigned. Doctors were suspended. Evelyn Cross's name hit the news. So did Julian's. Fraud, medical manipulation, human trafficking charges. Beatrice survived, but she lost her son's empire and her silence. I didn't get my kidney back. You don't get pieces of your body returned, but I got something else. A settlement that secured my future. My name cleared, my voice heard. I went back to school, public health law, because someone has to protect people like me. People ask me if I regret it. If I could go back, would I still say yes? The answer is complicated. That surgery took a part of my body, but it gave me something I never had before, myself. I don't belong to anyone now. And that's my power. They took my kidney, but they didn't take my voice. If this story made you angry, sad, or silent for even 1 second, don't scroll, like this video so it reaches someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, because stories like this don't end on screen, they happen in real life. And comment one word below, survivor, so every woman who reads it knows she's not alone.